and it's Odom. And this guy is gotta be the coolest looking dude I've seen thus far. And I say that because I want that as a Talbert. I want that. I want the guild that I'm making for Cataclysm, the leveling guild, to run around with doomsday signs on their back and their front. I mean, really, how awesome would that be? Come on, look at him. I mean, he doesn't look the happiest, like the happiest guy in the world, but shit, I mean, he's rocking it, man. I'll take that in a fucking heartbeat. That's right. Doomsday Cultist. Thought they didn't allow those in Orgrimmar. Oh well. Anyway, part of the reason why I made this video, getting back to the main topic, if I can actually pull it off, I'm trying to use my mouse over macro on my body instead of actually over my nameplate, so it's hitting everybody else that's running by me. They finally changed it so Swiftmend actually procs the efflorescence, and there it is right there. That's how big the area effect is. It's 8 yards around you for 120% of what you heal with Swiftmend. It's pretty big, and honestly I think it's better than the regrowth version. Regrowth version was a little bit overpowered that way, at least I think so, because you could just stack it. Now you can't really stack it. You're forced to deal with one, but still, that's a huge area. It's a lot of healing, and it helps top a lot of people off. I mean, you can't see all the healing from everybody else, but all that rejuvenation look graphic going around all those people, that's all the area effect. I mean, it's awesome. Look at it. Helps out a crap load. Alright, now I get to show you the effects of Thorns. Before, I told you about making the macro for casting on your focus target and making sure your focus target was the tank, and it would help with threat. Well, I'm going to show you the damage that it does. One thing I did notice is, I mean, for any of you hunters out there, you know hunters, if a pet does all the damage, I'm not sure about warlocks, but if the pet does all the damage and kills the mob, you don't get the loot. Well, it's the same thing with these damage shields. If it does 100% of the damage to the mobs and I don't do any damage at all to them, I don't get any loot. Actually, look at this. I almost die here because I forgot that mobs now 60 or higher are hitting a lot harder in preparation for Cataclysm. But you see, I did not touch a single one of them, and I didn't get any loot. It's not exactly, I mean, it's not, I'm not complaining because I'm just demonstrating it for you guys, but just so you know, for future reference, if you're restoration, you can't just group up a bunch of mobs and let the Thorns take care of them and think you're going to loot everything for quests. It ain't going to work that way. Now I'll show you the threat that just Thorns alone generates. I'm going to show you it off my focus target. I'm going to show you the DPS of it. And, well, of course, the DPS changes depending on how many mobs are hitting on you and how fast. But, as you can see right here, I don't have Thorns on, and I'm getting beat on, and I have 0 threat. Well, obviously I have aggro threat, but that's about it. I put Thorns on, my threat immediately jumps up. DPS starts going up. Mob will eventually kill itself. But of course the threat per second and the DPS all depend on the mob, how fast it's hitting, how many mobs it is, what weapons they're using, etc. So, but there's an example though. So I decided to run an instance, and it's one of the quick 5-man 1 bosses instances, kind of like the old holiday event stuff for that ice shit, or ice frickin' elemental and steam bolts. Anyway, this fat ass bitch, I could never, I hated her. I don't think anyone loved martyrdom. I don't think anyone liked it. I don't think, I think it's one instance that I don't think anybody ever was like, why did they even put it in the game? I mean, it's a beautiful instance, don't get me wrong, but it's just it's so confusing. There's really no rhyme or reason or flow to it, you know? It's like I'm going through my lobies right now. On some of them I'm doing randoms, and some of them are getting martyrdom, and it's just not making any sense. But anyway, I wanted to show you the healing. as you can see, I mean, it's not much different than it was before. I mean, actually, there's a little less numbers. It's more challenging, at least I think. I mean, this is just one fight. I did one other instance aside from this, but I didn't want to have to record all of that, and it would have just been too long of a video. So, as you can see, I mean, there's not as much healing, but it's still effective healing. This tank, I mean, this was a pretty cool group. This tank holds the best aggro I've ever seen of any tank. Anywhere. I have never seen a tank hold this good at aggro, and you're about to see why. Well, here in a few seconds, you're about to see why. He gets knocked off the cliff. See, look at this. I like this, the challenge where I have to just stop, and when I have to blow a cooldown, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, I blew a cooldown. I failed." I don't care. It just means the fight's fun. It just means it's challenging. If it's a challenge, if I have to blow a cooldown, I know it's challenging. I started running either that or the people just didn't know what the hell they were doing and taking too much damage. That might be it too. Either way, it was challenging, and as you can see, the tank fell off the edge. But this tank is awesome because look, when it zooms back out, look at the fat ass bitch. She's still waiting for him. Are you kidding me? He's holding that good at aggro, he's not even up there. Wow, that's crazy. But she eventually glitches out. I think part of it is because now that he's down there and the damn NPC keeps on running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think it's part of the reason she was glitching out, but she ended up bugging back up to 100%. Even after he drowns himself to get out of combat, you know, it's she was still bugged at 100%. So we just freaking got out and did it all over again. And now after many botched attempts on trying to get the group back together, he took forever to drown himself. I mean, we never really noticed exactly how long they extended the hold your breath underwater time until that point, because it was ridiculous. But then we decided, okay, let's fight her all the way up on her little frickin' mound of shit. That's what we decided to do, and it seemed to work pretty good. We didn't have any problems after this. The hunter almost gets knocked off the edge, but aside from that, we're good. But his edge, the edge that he almost got knocked off of, was like this 5-foot edge down to the water, so we weren't really worried about that. Overall, you can see the healing is good. I'm thoroughly happy with the change they did to Efflorescence. I like the area effect. I like the fact that it doesn't go off all the time, that you can't just control where you put it anymore. Well, you can control it, but you can't say, okay, I want to put one down under here, one down under here, one down under here, because honestly my crit chance for regrowth was almost 100% when I was making the videos before. I reforged some of that just so I could get more crit, so I could almost get 100% crit to with talents just for my regrowth. But anyway, as you can see, it's see, the hunter almost gets knocked off. As you can see, healing is still pretty good. I don't have any problems keeping the tank up. Threat per second for the Thorns, I don't. Honestly, I didn't have Omen up when I was running this one. Next video I bring out, if it's, because they're talking about early December or mid-December or something like that, the expansion actually coming out. If I make a video for this before then I'll try to do an instance run with the threat per second differences for the Thorns, so I can show you guys how that works. But anyway, I hope you had a good time watching. This is Odom, and see you later.